Alright, hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video. In today's video, we are going to do something very exciting, and that is we are going to do a tier list and we are going to rank every single Belo Betty card ever. So we're going to rank every single Revolutionary Army type card that you can play in Belo Betty. So every red and every yellow Revolutionary Army card. I've decided not to include the non-Revolutionary Army cards like Cracker, Satori, Kikunojo, Smoothie, etc. Because frankly, those cards are not played anymore. Mainly the cards you're going to be playing is Rev Army. Most lists, most competitively good lists are 100% Rev Army, so that's why you won't see them in this video. But if you do want me to try and get those into a ranking video as well, feel free to leave that in the comments and I will get to it as fast as I can. But in today's video, we're going to rank every single Revolutionary Army card that you can play in Belo Betty. So let's just straight into the tier list. But quickly, right before we do that, do not forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe if you are enjoying the content. I'm pushing out videos like basically every day now. So make sure you are subscribed. All right, so here is the tier list that we got going on. We have every single Rev Army card down here. But first of all, let's explain the tier list here, right? So we have S tier. This is a must-have at 4. This is basically the core of the deck, and if you cut these down to 4, like less than 4, then the deck's not going to function without it, right? So these are the must-have at 4. S tier, the best of the best. And then we have A tier. These are great cards, and you might want to run them at 4, but it's not necessary. Some people run them at 2 or 3, but it's still great cards, and they should definitely be in your deck. They might not have to be 4 of, but they should be in your deck 100% of the time. And then B, we have personal preference. These are cards that aren't necessary to have in your deck, but if you really like that card and you like the playstyle, then they can go in your deck for sure. And then we have C tier. This is meta-specific cards. These are cards that they're not going to be in your deck, and they're not good to be in your deck unless, of course, you're teching for specific matchups. Like, let's say now in OP10, when like Usopp became big, people were running this card that called Dragon's Breath that destroys stage cards because Colosseum is such a good stage, right? But that card should never ever be in your deck unless you have that specific matchup in the meta, right? So unless it's this tier is going to be meta calls, and otherwise they should not be in your deck. And then we have D tier. These are cards that just should not be in your deck, right? These are cards that are bad no matter what the matchups are, no matter what the meta looks like. These cards are bad. Do not play them. All right, everything settled? Let's jump into the tier list. We're going to just take it from the top left and go through every single card. So starting first with Koala over here. This is the promo Koala. One cost 2k power, no, one cost 1k power, 1k counter, and the effect is that you can attach Arrested Dawn to one of your characters or leaders. This is probably gonna be in Don't, unfortunately. I think the problem with Koala is that she's a one cost 1k, which means she's just not gonna be good. Because she boosts to 4, which is obviously not a good stat line. You want to make sure you boost to 5. That way you can swing at leaders. So unfortunately, this goes in Don't. It could make it all the way up here to B in case somebody makes some new discovery, whereas like maybe they drop more Rev Army cards that need a Dawn attached. Then I could see this having some arguments. But for right now, it goes in Don't. Unfortunately, card is not good. EBO2 Sabo here. This is a 2k counter that activate main. You can rest it to give plus 2k to something. I think this is going to have to go in personal preference. It being a 2k counter means it's, it's in a different card pool than the other ones. It's not competing with the same cards. Like, it's not competing with the actual core of the deck. But it with the 2k counter, it really comes down to personal preference. There's like one must-have, and then the second spot is really flexible. You can run like 2k Kuma, you can run Satori, you can run this Sabo. You really can run a lot of different cards. So we're gonna put this in personal preference. Me personally, it's like here or here, right? Because it's what I play. I play this at 4 after its release. I swap out Kuma for it, but is definitely not something that you have to keep in mind. This card goes under personal preference for sure. Now, 5 cost Sabo here. This is probably slightly above, because this is the same story here, right? This is a promo as well, but it gets it's a 2k counter, right? Which means that it fills a spot that otherwise is hard to fill, and it's a personal preference if it goes over the Sabo or not, you know. But this is probably the best 2k counter that we have. So unfortunately, maybe second best or second best. So it's gonna go in here for me. Um, the leader is here. Must have, obviously. You must have the leader. Yeah, otherwise you can't play. And then we have Inazuma here. This is going to go in great as well, 2 to 4. This is, in my preference, the best finisher we have. I think it's way better than Dragon, which means this is our only real source of rush. And it can be cheated out with Ivankov, which means it's a 0 cost 7k rusher, which is insane. So you can do some crazy plays with this, but it's not a must-have. I think I've cut it down to 3 as well. So definitely something that, you know, it fits perfectly for what this category, you know, even means. So he goes in there for sure. Ivankov, finally, a must-have at 4. This is your core, right? This is like the thing that makes the deck work. It's Jimbei that's arguably on crack, right? It cheats out your other forecast and stuff. It's incredibly powerful, and it's definitely a 4-off. If you're not running this at 4, I don't know what you're doing. Karasu is kind of on the line here, right? Karasu is such a good card that you're going to be running it at 4, but you probably don't actually have to. I'm going to make a video coming up where I try to play Belo Betty without Karasu, but for now, it goes in here. You really should be running this at 4, especially because there's no real reason to cut it down. But there are arguments that you can cut it down, so it's going to be on the right side here. It's going to be on the bottom of S tier. 2k Koala here. Now, this is the best 2k in the entire Rev Army package. This is a must-have at 4. This is just so versatile. It has a good stat line. It's a body that reduces. It boosts to 6. You know, it has a great stat line, and then just having the additional plus 3k reducer. It's just so good, and it works well with a bunch of different effects that you have. So this is definitely S tier for me. 6 cost Sabo. This is probably gonna go down in personal preference. No, it's gonna go down in C. It's gonna go to meta specific. This card is such a shout, like against specific metas. Like now that Zoro is getting a little bigger, people are taking this in to like deal with his small bodies, which, you know, I see the value in it, but it's definitely meta specific, and it's not a card that you can just run just like that. Right, it needs to fit into the meta for it to actually have value, and even then, it's like a 1, maybe 2 off. Kuma, I love this card. I think this should be in S tier. I personally would put it in S tier, but it is not necessary to have it 4. I love it at 4. Don't get me wrong. I run it at 4 because I love it at 4. It's a great card. It's a great trigger, but realistically, you don't need it at 4. You can cut it down to 3, maybe even 2. So it's going to go in here. It's actually going to go slightly above this Sabo here. It's interchangeable with this, probably. Actually, let's put it above Inazuma as well, if Inazuma would fucking move. There we go. Probably top of A here. Yep. And then we have Hack. Hack is 3 cost 5k vanilla, and unfortunately, that's not going to make the cut. Vanilla is just not good in this deck. I think there's a world where we have like a better stat line. Like if we find a 4 cost 5k, you know, vanilla, like we get a 2k counter vanilla, then maybe there's arguments for it. But I mean, that's basically what our 4 cost our 4 cost Sabo here, right? He's vanilla stat lined, but he has an effect. So vanillas are never going to be played, and Hack is not making the cut. He's going to go in don't. Bunny Joe, unfortunately, is also gonna go in don't. I love Bunny Joe. I played Bunny Joe at my first ever nationals, and it worked wonders. But obviously, we've gotten a bunch of other cards since then, and we have new blockers. And Bunny Joe is just not necessary for the meta anymore. So unfortunately, he's gonna get cut down all the way down to don't in D tier. Then we have Belo Betty, arguably the best card in the deck. It's gonna be right up here with Ivankov. I think I'm gonna put Ivankov slightly above it, but Belo Betty just opens up so much for us, and it's a definitely must have at 4 because it's a 1 cost that searches, so it replaces itself. It helps you find your key pieces, and then you can boost it to 5, making sure you can swing at your opponent's leader, which is incredibly powerful. Second up, we have Morley. Morley's probably gonna go in personal preference. I like Morley recently because I've been running Morley and the trigger is really good. But besides the trigger, he's not really that good. So it really is a personal preference of whether you want to run the trigger heavy build or if you want to run a more standard build. And if you're running a more standard build, you're probably not running Morley. It's not the best card in the game, let's just say that much. I think personal preference is fine. I run him at 4, but you know, it's personal preference and also meta relevant, so it could go in here as well. But I like it in personal preference for sure. Lindbergh here. I'd put Lindbergh in S as well. I think this is one of the best cards in the deck. It's so underrated. It has the trigger. It has an incredible when attacking effect. It's a 4 cost 5k, which means it's perfect for cheating out. But if you're gonna cut one of the 4 costs, it'll probably be Lindbergh. But this is if you're bad at deck building. If you're good at deck building, Lindbergh is an S tier for sure. And these probably swap places as well. Koala is way better than Karasu, I think. At least to have at 4. Way more important to have at 4 than Karasu. Hormone is going to go into personal preference as well. It's exactly the same logic here as Morley. Whereas, like, if you just like running the trigger package, it goes in the deck. If not, it doesn't. Fire Fist. This could go in meta specific, I reckon. It's again a card that can do a lot of things depending on what the meta looks like. So I think it's gonna go in C tier for meta specific right there. This is, I don't even know what this is. 1000 Brick Fist, I think. And that's gonna go in Don't. This card basically does nothing. It's like a 2 cost, give plus 2k to something and then minus 1k to something. So it's like, it's just not worth the card out of hand. I don't even know what the trigger is. This card has never been used and will never be used. It goes in the bottom of D tier. Stage. I'd like to put Stage in personal preference because I used to run a list without Stage and it worked just fine. And I know people are still not running Stage. You know, a lot of people are running Stage, but there are a lot of people out there not running Stage. But I think it's going to have to go in 8. I think it's been used so much at this point that people are in a general consensus that Stage is like a great card to have, and it's like damn near a must-have, right? So I think it's gonna go in A. It's gonna go in the bottom of A because it is really close to just being like personal preference, and the deck definitely can function without it. But it is a great card, so it does get cut into the A tier there. Banish Inazuma. I think this is gonna have to go in meta specific. Banish Inazuma is such an interesting card, and I want it to be good so bad. But it's just not quite good enough. I think the core of our 4 costs are just so much better than this that it's gonna have to go into meta specific. But of course, there is a world where like triggers get super relevant. Maybe yellow becomes the best color in the format. Then Inazuma actually does have arguments and could go up and get into your deck, you know. But meta specific for sure, I'd say. 5 cost Ivankov. This is a great card. You should definitely be running this at like at least a 2 of. I run it at 2, but that's just because I prefer Koala. If you don't know how to play Koala properly, then this is the card for you. And you should definitely run that at 4 then. It really is like a balance. You generally want to run like 6 sort of spammers. So a combination of 5 cost Ivankov and 6 cost Koala. You want to run 6 copies of those cards in total. I happen to run 2 of Ivankov and 4 of Koala. But yeah, definitely a great card to have in your deck. And even if you prefer Koala, you need to have this at like at least 2 because it's just so good in certain matchups. Moving on to Race Max. This is probably gonna go into... Ooh, this is hard to say. It's either gonna be bottom of A or it's gonna be top of B. I think it's gonna have to be top of B. I really like Race Max, but I've noticed that whenever I cut cards out, like try new cards, right? Race Max is always the first card I cut, which surely says something about the card. That it makes the cut, but it's so damn close. And so I don't really think it's deserving of being in A tier. And instead it's going to have to be in B tier. It really comes down to personal preference. I think if you don't run stage, this becomes an instant A and almost must have at 4. But I run stage and most people run stage, which means this is going to see less value and you should play it less. But, you know, I play that too, so there's an argument for it being here. But I'm going to put it in top of B for now. 8 cost dragon. I fucking hate this card so much, but I cannot put it in. I can't put it in D. I want to put it in D. I fucking hate this card. It's so ass. But at the end of the day, it's probably not that bad of a card. And if you really like running dragon over Inazuma, then sure, run fucking dragon. See if I care. I don't care if you go fucking X and 10 after your next regional, bro. But I would put it here. There's no chance it goes in here because it's not good in any specific matchup, I don't think. But it goes in personal preference, but I'm going to put it at the bottom of personal preference, because if your personal preference is dragon, then you're fucking ass. Sorry, that was a bit rough. I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean all this dragon hate, but it should be in D tier. Yeah. Galaxy Wink. I don't remember quite what this card does. I'm actually going to have to pull this up real quick. Let's see. Is it Galaxy Wink? Galaxy OPCG. What the fuck does this card do? Up to one of your revolutionary army type characters gain plus 2,000. Oh, this is the other card. Okay, so this is the this is what I thought the other card did. What the fuck does 1,000 Brick Fist do? Oh, okay, so 1,000 Brick Fist gives plus 2,000 and then KO a 2k or less. Okay, so none of these cards are relevant. Okay, I'm sorry, these cards are both bad. They just are. Unfortunately, they're just bad cards. But it's fine. We forgive them. I want Galaxy Wing here to be good. I really do. I think it's actually slightly better than this. But it's just not. There's no way it's good. Dragon's Breath. This is going to go in meta specific. Again, like this is the card I used to define the category. So I'll put it at the top. Like if the meta allows for this card, like if stage cards become super relevant, then this card also becomes super relevant. It's just really sucky that it's on a event card and not on a body. It really is sucky, but definitely goes in meta specific. It's a decent card if the meta allows for it. If it not, then this card should not be in your deck. Keep Out. I want this card to be good so bad. I really do. Unfortunately, I don't think it's ever gonna be relevant. I really want it to be good so bad. I'm gonna put it at the top of don't tier. I need to playtest this card so much more than I have, because I truly believe that there could be something here. But it just sucks leaving a Dawn up. But there is definitely a curve where you can go like Searcher on 1, 4-cost Ivankov on 2 into something, and then on 3 you're gonna play like 5-cost Ivankov, and then you're gonna rest all your 4-cost rights to swing, and then you just leave one Dawn up to defend like the Ivankov, right? And then what this card does, right, is it gives plus 2,000 to one of your characters during the turn, but also during your own turn afterward. So it's an incredibly defensive and offensive tool in one, and it costs just one Dawn. So it's an incredibly interesting card. And I want to play with it so bad. Maybe I'll do that in a future video where I try this card to see if it actually works. But for now, unfortunately, without playtesting, it's gonna have to go in D tier. Lucy here, it's really in between here. It could go either way. Like if you like this sort of playstyle and this card, then sure it can go in here. I don't know if it's meta specific. I don't know which matchups it could be good in, but I guess it could be good against like Zoro and stuff, or like generally things you need to rest stuff. But it's probably gonna go in here. It's probably just a bad card. I know there's some Lucy fans out there, but I'm gonna put it in D. I'm sorry, I just haven't seen the value in it. Feel free to convince me otherwise in the comment section, but I do not see this card being good. Karasu, we're gonna put Karasu in great. I don't run Karasu in my deck anymore, but I'm starting to think that I probably should. Because this card is really good. You don't need it at 4, but like this right here, 2 to 4, this card will do great for you. It's probably gonna go like right here before stage, and probably before this Sabo as well. Actually, before this 5-cost Ivankov as well. It's a really good card. It really is. I'm not playing it, but don't listen to me. You know, take the advice of the people who actually opt in events that they run these cards for, right? So it's damn near going up in here, but it's not quite there in my personal opinion, and it's gonna be an A tier. Then we have Koala here. I think it should just go right next to Ivankov. I'm gonna put it above Ivankov because that's my personal preference, but they basically do the same thing. But if you know how to use Koala properly, then this Koala becomes so powerful. Whereas this kind of is a hit or miss, right? You can play 5-cost Ivankov and get like a race max off it, or like a Kuma or something, and it's just not valuable. But Koala, you can decide what you play, right? Which makes it so much more powerful. You also technically go +/-1 in hand while establishing 2 bodies, whereas this gives you -1 in hand. So it's technically does one more thing for you, right? But yeah, these go in the same spot. They're great cards, but you don't need them at 4. But 2 to 4, just like that, perfectly. Sabo is gonna be probably he's probably right here above Race Max, honestly. Actually, right below Race Max. This is such a personal preference card. If you like this sort of playstyle, then yeah, for sure. But it's definitely not a card that you like need to have at 2 or 4. Like these two, as well with Stage, they should actually probably have their own tier, which is like, hey, run this card if you run this playstyle or whatever. But for me, Sabo is down here. I haven't tested Sabo enough, but I don't think Sabo is the card for me. But I know some people love Sabo, right? And I see why. I get it. Just not my personal preference. But if it is, that's why it's in the personal preference tier. 2K Kuma. We're gonna put 2K Kuma right below Sabo here. These 2Ks are really just a preference choice, right? I think Sabo's better, but if you prefer to have this trigger rather than have this effect, then I get that, and that's fair. But these both go in personal preference for sure. It's just like you gotta pick one of these. But realistically, once this drops, it's just gonna be Koala and Sabo are gonna be your 2Ks, and none of these are gonna be relevant. And I think this drops before this Sabo even. So unfortunately, this Sabo just never makes the cut. It's a little sad, but yeah. If there's ever reason to go above 8 2Ks, then these are in your right up your alley, right? Belo Betty. Oh, this is difficult. I've been wanting to try this card because in my head, it was always a bad card, right? But recently, I've been thinking that this card might be, but I have not tried it, so I cannot put it anywhere else than don't. I simply can't. I think it's gonna be at the top of don't though, because I know like a lot of lists in the East run this card, but I just don't think it's there. We in the West have really reached a consensus that this card is not it, but it could be. I just don't know. I think there's chances of this card being good, but right now, where I'm standing right now, I cannot put it above D, unfortunately. Because it doesn't fit in here. It shouldn't be in here. It's not really a personal preference. Like, either this could is bad or it's not. But it's bad for now. Until we try, it's bad. Well, this Morley goes right next to Hack here. Probably under it, because this can't even be played out with 4-cost Ivankov or 5-cost Ivankov. It can be played out with Koala, but not by any of the Ivankovs. It's just a bad vanilla, right? Lindbergh as well. This is also a bad card. It's probably around here, and this is probably over here. But yeah, this is just a bad card. It's like a Kuma, but it costs more, right? So like it could be kind of cracked depending on the situation. Like it's very situational, right? But it has a worse trigger. It has, I want to say it has a conditional effect. I don't actually know what the effect is. I know it KOs a 3-cost or less, 2K power or less. But let's see. I'm gonna search up the card. Don't worry. Yeah, exactly. So it's conditional. If you and your opponent have a total of 5 or less life cards, KO at 2K or less. So it's Kuma, but worse in every single way, right? Except that it has 2,000 power more. But everything else is worse. which is why this goes in D tier. It's just not a good card. Hormone, I'm gonna put this in this is not Hormone. This is the other one, but it's the same. Basically, this has the same effect as Hormone in a deck, right? Where it's like you play this for the trigger, and you basically never use the effect. So I think it's gonna go right next to here, right next to Hormone. Worse than Hormone for sure, but definitely has arguments for it. If you want to run an incredibly trigger heavy deck, then this makes the cut as well. Forecast in Asuma, it's gonna go in meta specific, but it's gonna go pretty close to the top. I think it's pretty good depending on meta, but it's definitely a card that people have been trying out, and it's definitely a card that is decently good. So it's just gonna go in here. I don't think it's that good, but it's definitely something that you could consider depending on how the meta shapes up. 5 cost Ivankov, the yellow one. This card is hard to place because I've never tried this card, but that is because I don't see any value in this. The arguments are that you can like run this against Blackbeard when they try to starve you. It's an activate main that, you know, takes your own life, because like koala is usually our anti-starve card, but since it's an on play, you actually can't use it against Blackbeard, which means you want to have some sort of other out to prevent starving. But if you're for 5 Dawn establishing a 6k that takes a life, then you know that's not good. And when this Sabo comes, this can at least be cheated out with Forecast Ivankov, and basically does the same thing, right? So this is going to go in Don't. It's going to go pretty down in Don't. It's going to go right above this here, I think. It's just a bad card. You shouldn't play this unless you're practicing with it, and you know, maybe you can find something that I missed, but I do not think this card ever makes it. Unfortunately, the same goes for this Sabo here. It's just an overstated fucking beater. And frankly, it's not good. You don't really need him to be as overstated. Like, he's already, like, at 4k, you're already boosting to 7, which means you're in a good spot. And him requiring 1 Dawn for his effect to go off, and then another requirement in hand size as well. It's just one too many requirements for this card to be good, unfortunately. This Ivankov, unfortunately, also does not make the cut. We have way better blocker options at this point. And the way it works, right, is that you can stack your life, but you can only stack your life with a 5 cost, which we don't have any 5 cost that we want to stack. So until that day, this card is going to be bad. I don't think it specifies that you have to put a Luffy Sabo or whatever, even though like that's like where this card comes from. It's from Star Deck 13, right? But we don't have any good cards that cost 5 that we want to stack in our lives. So until that day comes, this card is going to be unplayable. And yeah, it's a little sad, but bad card. And then this Sabo is going to come down to meta specific as well, probably right next to this Sabo, where it's like this is removal, and in a meta where maybe there are a lot of 5 costs that, you know, we need to get rid of, this is something that definitely could see play. This, I think, trashes your life and then KOs a 5 cost. If it's add to hand, that's a lot better, but I think it's trash, unfortunately. I haven't read the card properly because I've never played it. But this is definitely meta specific. Could see some play now that Green Purple Luffy is good, because we can hit that 5 cost Sanji Pudding on curve. That would be really good. Unfortunately, they have the stage that increases it to 7, which makes this worse. But I don't think we're going to have to tech against Green Purple Luffy anyways, as that should be a pretty favored matchup. But it goes in personal preference for sure. And then Flame Dragon King, I'm going to put it in bad. I'm sorry. It's going to go pretty far down in bad. Like here. I just don't see this card being good. Like it lets you stack your life, but it's just not good. Like if you're using 2 Dawn to defend an attack and stack your life, like you're first of all defending an attack, which you rarely want to do, right? And then you're restacking your life, which is great, but it's not gonna be that relevant. And then, you know, you've used a card and 2 Dawn for this. It's just not worth it. It's not a good card. I'm sorry. I know there's some Flame Dragon King enjoyers out there. Don't play this card, please. And that's gonna be all the cards. Let me know in the comments if I missed a card, and I will answer it in that comment, and I will tell you right where it goes. But this should be all Revolutionary Army cards. So this is your core. This is your secondary core, right? Basically, and then these are your personal preferences. meta specific callouts, and then don't play these cards. I can't stress that shit enough. Don't play these cards at the bottom here, okay? They're bad. But besides that, I think that's it for this video. Sorry if it dragged on a little bit long. There's a lot of cards to go through, and I tend to yap a fair bit. But thank you all so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you again in the next one. Peace.